Starting over in Fort Lauderdale, finding another village. Have you ever moved somewhere new and wonder if it would ever feel like home? When my family moved to Fort Lauderdale, I had to start all over again. New neighborhood, new school, new people. When we first moved into the neighborhood, the usual thing happened. The neighbors came by to introduce themselves to the newbie in the neighborhood, from adults to children. So they kind of made the move a little bit more smooth, because you move into the neighborhood. You have that fear before you even move of what would the neighborhood be like. Will I be accepted? All those things go through your head before you move. So little by little, something happened. After everyone introduced themselves and you start building relationship and having conversation, and see what you have in common, and the neighbor just make it a little bit easier. So after all that took place, Fort Lauderdale started reminding me of the community that I had left behind in Jamaica. So after a while, I found myself another village. Hi everyone, it's Dimples D, and welcome back to the Healing Corner with Dimples D. Today, I am continuing The Little Girl from Ellen Street. This chapter takes me to Fort Lauderdale, where life starts changing in ways I didn't really understand at the time. Some of those memories are funny, some are beautiful, and some are harder for me to talk about. But I want to tell you a story as I remember it. I want to tell you the story as I remember it. When we first moved to Fort Lauderdale, we moved into a 3-bedroom house on 30th Avenue. It was my mother and father, my brother, my sister, and I. At first, things were unfamiliar. But over time, we got to know everybody on the block. People spent time at each other's house. Some friends had their little... Some people are closer than some. So you have to get into that groove of when you move into a neighborhood. You can't take things personally, because it's kind of like they already had bond, and then there's a new face that comes on. So it took some time to adjust to that. Parents helped each other. So after we got all warmed up and we had to go to school, sometimes my mother would drive us to school. Other times, my friend across the street, father, would take us to school. And if we didn't have a ride, we would end up walking. Before I knew it, Fort Lauderdale didn't feel strange anymore. Over time, I found a second home, a second family next door. It was the Du Bois. They had, I think it was like 7 kids, and some of them was older, some was in my age group and my brother's age group. They live on the right hand side of us. And very quickly they became my second family. Not almost. They really became family. Some of the children was older than me, as I said before, and the little one, he called me. He have a nickname for me. He called me Drac, and my father and him build a relationship. My father had a name for him. He used to call him, I think, McDonald's, because he used to have hamburgers. So quickly, everybody started forming a bond. And when I said I form a family, my big sister, which is Adrian, her and I are still close today. I do my stop by and go and visit. The little one, Zoe, is still alive and kicking, and whenever he loved to call me Drac. And they end up having that same love for my son. During that time, we all ate there, we played there, we walked in and out of each other's house as if it was our own. Sometimes we didn't even have to knock the door, it's just to walk right through the door, you know, because everybody was welcome. And that reminded me so much of Ellen Street. Everybody knew each other. If you did something wrong, another adult will correct you. There was respect. There was a community. It really did take a village. So back then, we stayed outside. We stayed outside. I miss those days. We played with the water hose. We'll take the water hose and wet up each other, especially on a hot day in the summer. Some of us would take the bucket and throw it at each other. It was not just the children. The adults was out there having fun too. We played cards. We played Connect Four and other, like checkers, other games. We played football. Whatever we could find to do. And I was still very much a tomboy. I was all my life pretty much a tomboy. If the boys were doing something, I wanted to do it too. Don't matter how difficult the task is. If it's football, I want to play the football. If it's soccer, I want to go out there and play soccer. If they were running race up and down the street, I was there. Basketball, even though I can't play basketball. They had a little thing there. I could never get the ball in the hoop, but I'll try. So with all that, one of the things that stand out for me is I remember we were out there playing football. And listen, we were running the ball up and down the street. And I ran in the grass. And guess what? I got tackled. But when I get tackled, I got tackled really hard. I fell harder than usual. And they all knew that I was hurt, and they asked me, was I okay? And since I didn't want nobody to think I was weak, I got up and tell them that I was okay, act like nothing was wrong. I walked into the house. I went into the room and went into the closet, and I cried. I cried. That tackle hurt. It really, when I say it hurt, it really hurt. And being a girl with a big chest, I think I was around 15, and my boom, I call them tatas. I didn't like having, my chest was just big. I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable because I wanted to do what the boys was doing. But through it all, I still wanted to run, tackle, play football, and do everything that the boys were doing. Man, I tell you, those were fun days. So, being that we moved to Fort Lauderdale, I had to relocate to a new middle school, which was Parkway Middle School, which was another beginning, new beginning for me. Another place where I had to build relationships from scratch, which was very uncomfortable, for the least to say. But I will say the one thing that followed me wherever I went was track and field. I ran long distance. So I ran the mile relay and the mile run. And when I did the relay, I always did the anchor. And I always, now the funny story about it is that if you wanted me to win, they would offer me and tell me, say, when I get to the finish line, they're going to have food for me, pizza. And from I hear food, no matter what, I'm going to pull through and win that race. Running was one of the places where I felt comfortable. Now I'm thinking about it, I guess running is what kept my head level. I was also in chorus, couldn't sing worth a bat, but I enjoy being in chorus. And yes, I was actually in chorus. Back then they used to sing, we are the children, we are the world. I'm telling my age. That was one of the songs I remember they used to sing. And we had a girl in there, she could blow. Keisha can blow. And she, oh my God, she had a voice that would just, whoa. So what is being a teenager without being in trouble? I used to get myself into trouble quite a bit. Believe it or not, quite a bit. I used to, trouble used to find me. Yes, trouble used to find me. I don't know why, but I spent quite some time into the dean's office. Back then, paddling, they were able to paddle you, and I used to get me some whip. I rather to get the paddling than them calling home because I know I would get it 10 times worse. So, as I started making friends, I also started noticing something. Every family was different. They had different rules. They had different values and different levels of freedom. And when you're a teenager, that can affect you more than you realize. Because you start comparing yourself based on what you're going through within your household. It does impact, in my opinion, it does impact you. Because you start wondering why someone else can do things that you can't do. You start wondering what everybody else has You start wanting it what everybody else has, because you probably think it's better over there than over here. And as a kid, you really don't understand. All you know is that things are different, and especially with different values and stuff like that, it can impact you in without you even knowing it. Back then, people will call it trying to keep up with the Jones. Because if you see your friend wear a crepe, a sneakers that is nicer than the sneakers that you have, you don't know any better. You just feel like, why does this person dress this way and I dress this way? For instance, with my hair, my mother used to comb my hair with a tree. Like in Jamaica, you have one in the middle and two on the side, and I used to take it out and fix my hair up, and then before I go back home, I put it back. They used to call it roll call. Boy, the island people can really put some color on you. I used to have a striped shirt on and striped jeans, striped pants. And as kid, when you're dressed differently, it affects you. So you start becoming creative, like hiding clothes in a one bag and changing when you go home. But I did get catch once. My mother showed up at the school that unexpected, and I wasn't the same way that she dropped me off. And needless to say, you know what happened to me. So with that being said, for trying to be with the Jones, I think that was the beginning of me learning that the people around you can influence how you see yourself, how you see your family, and what you think life's supposed to look like. And sometimes it's not done intentional. It's just a natural human being. So now, when I look back on those early Fort Lauderdale years, I do remember the community. I remember the fun, and I remember the different friendship and bonds that I formed. I remember feeling like belonging somewhere again. But I also know that this was the beginning of a season where life would become more complicated. Fort Lauderdale did not replace Ellen Street. But for a season, it gave that little girl another village. And in the next chapter, I am going to take you into my years at high school, where everybody seemed to know me as one thing, Little Cleon. I'm Dimples D, and this is the Healing Corner with Dimples D. Keep hoping, keep healing, keep growing, one chapter at a time.